My mom sat me down and said, "You don't need two bedrooms, your sister does," then asked me to move somewhere else. So I replied, "She doesn't need my house, she needs to grow up and earn her own." I 29M need advice about my family situation that's gotten completely out of hand. I'm honestly at my wit's end here and I need some outside perspective because I'm starting to feel like I'm going crazy. Background. I've worked my butt off for the past 7 years to get where I am. After college, I lived in a cramped studio apartment for 4 years, saving every penny I could. I took on freelance projects on top of my regular job, skipped vacations, and basically lived on ramen and peanut butter sandwiches. 2 years ago, I finally had enough for a down payment on a 2-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. I converted the second bedroom into a home office since I work remotely 3 days a week. My sister Sarah, 27F, has always been the family favorite. I'm not bitter about it. Okay, maybe a little, but it's just how things have always been. She dropped out of college twice, bounced between retail jobs, and my parents always bailed her out. She's finding herself, they'd say. Meanwhile, I was working 60-hour weeks, and nobody seemed to notice. 3 weeks ago, Sarah announced she's pregnant. The father is her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Tyler, 30M, who works part-time at a vape shop and is really close to making it big with his band. They've been together for about 8 months total, though not consecutively. My parents were thrilled, their first grandchild and all that. Here's where it gets insane. Last Sunday, we had our regular family dinner at my parents' house. Out of nowhere, my mom, Linda, 52F, says, "So James, we need to talk about the apartment situation." I had no idea what she meant. She goes on to explain that since Sarah is having a baby, she needs a proper place to live. She's currently in a 1-bedroom with Tyler, but apparently that's no environment for a baby. My dad, Robert, 54M, chimes in, "Babies need space. A nursery room to grow. You're just one person. You don't need 2 bedrooms." I literally choked on my wine. They were serious. They actually expected me to give up the apartment I bought with my own money to my sister. Not sell it to her, not rent it to her, give it to her. I tried to stay calm. I explained that I used the second bedroom as an office, that I worked hard for this place, that it's my home. My mom's response, "Family helps family. When you have a baby someday, Sarah will help you too." Sarah just sat there with a small smile, rubbing her belly. She's like 10 weeks along. There's nothing to rub yet. She didn't say much, but she did mention how perfect my neighborhood would be for raising a baby. Great schools, safe streets close to the park. I said no firmly, but politely. That's when things escalated. My mom started crying, saying I'm selfish and don't care about my future niece or nephew. My dad accused me of being materialistic and putting property over people. Sarah finally spoke up, saying she always knew I resented her and that some people just aren't meant to be uncles. I left. I've been getting texts all week. Mom sends me articles about the importance of family support. Dad sent me a spreadsheet. I kid you not, a spreadsheet showing how a single person mathematically needs less space than a family. Sarah posted on Facebook about how some people don't understand that it takes a village and how grateful she is for those who do support her journey. My extended family is now involved. My aunt called me selfish. My cousin texted asking if it's true that I'm making a pregnant woman homeless. I've tried explaining that Sarah isn't homeless. She has an apartment, but nobody wants to hear it. Here's what really gets me. They're not even suggesting I move in with them temporarily or offering to help me find a new place. They just assume I'll figure it out because I always do. When I pointed out I have a mortgage, my mom said I could get a studio apartment and rent it for less than my mortgage payment, and they'd help with the difference sometimes. I'm not heartless. I love my sister despite everything. I'd be happy to help her look for a bigger place, maybe even chip in for a deposit if she actually saved some money. But giving up my home, the apartment I worked years for, so she and her unemployed boyfriend can play house on my dime. Am I the bad one here? I feel like I'm being gaslit by my entire family. They're acting like I'm some monster who wants babies to suffer. But this is my home. I earned it. Why should I give it up? Because Sarah made different life choices. The pregnancy wasn't planned, by the way. She told me that herself when she first found out, but now it's somehow my responsibility to solve their housing situation. I need advice. How do I handle this without destroying my family relationships? But also, how do I stay firm without becoming the villain in everyone's story? Edit. OMG, this blew up. I'm reading all your comments and I can't believe how many of you have dealt with similar situations. To answer some common questions, yes, the apartment is 100% in my name and my parents have no legal claim to it. They did not help with the down payment. They actually told me I was rushing into home ownership. Asa and Tyler pay $900 per month for their current place. My mortgage is $400. I know Tyler is not stepping up. He thinks they should see how things go before making big decisions. I'm going to try to talk to them again this weekend. Update 1 posted 2 weeks later. Buckle up because this has gotten so much worse. First, thank you to everyone who responded to my original post. Your comments gave me the confidence to stand firm. I even wrote down some key points to bring up at our family meeting. So last Saturday, I invited everyone to my apartment for lunch thinking a neutral setting might help. Big mistake. Huge mistake. They showed up 45 minutes early. I was still prepping food when I heard the key in my lock. Yeah, my parents still have a spare key from when I first moved in. I made a mental note to change the locks ASAP. In walks my mom, dad, Sarah, and Tyler. But that's not all. They brought my Aunt Patricia, mom's sister, and her husband, Michael, as mediators. Apparently, my family decided I needed an intervention. Tyler immediately sprawls on my couch and starts playing with my PS5. Sarah begins walking around, and I swear I thought she was just being nosy. Mom starts rearranging my kitchen because apparently I've been organizing my spices wrong for 2 years. I try to get everyone seated and start the conversation, but Aunt Patricia jumps in with James. We're all here because we love you and want what's best for the family. The intervention was basically them taking turns explaining why I'm being unreasonable. A dad pulled out his laptop with a PowerPoint presentation titled Space Utilization in Modern Living. A mom cried about how she's been dreaming of grandchildren and how I'm robbing her of the full experience. Aunt Patricia talked about how her generation understood sacrifice. Sarah said she's been having morning sickness and needs a stable environment. Tyler mentioned their band might need to use the garage for practice. My building doesn't even have a garage. I stayed calm. I used your suggestions. I said I understood their concerns, but the apartment was my home, not a family resource. I offered to help Sarah apartment hunt. I even said I'd contribute $1,000 toward a deposit. That's when things went off the rails. Sarah stood up and said, "Actually, I need to see something." She walked straight to my bedroom. My bedroom. I followed, confused, and found her in my closet with her phone flashlight looking at the walls. "This would be perfect for the nursery," she said. "The closet's big enough for a changing station." I asked what the hell she was doing. She smiled and said, "Just planning ahead. Mom said you'd come around." That's when I realized they'd already decided this was happening. This meeting was just supposed to be me accepting their decision. I went back to the living room to find my mom in my home office with a measuring tape. A measuring tape. She was literally measuring my office while telling my dad the crib would fit perfectly against this wall. I lost it. Not screaming, but firm. I told everyone to get out. My mom tried to guilt trip me. "We're just trying to help plan." My dad got angry. "You're being ridiculous. We're discussing your sister's future." But here's the kicker. As they were leaving, Sarah turned to me and said, "Oh, I made an appointment with a designer for Thursday at 2. She specializes in nurseries. You don't need to be here, but leave the key under the mat." I said, "Absolutely not." She rolled her eyes and said, "Fine, I'll just use Mom's key." They left. I immediately called a locksmith. But wait, there's more. Monday, I get a text from Sarah with a Pinterest board titled James's Apartment Nursery Ideas. It has 47 pins, 47 including color swatches and furniture arrangements for my bedroom. Tuesday, my mom calls crying, saying the locksmith turned her away when she tried to let the designer in. She accused me of escalating the situation. Wednesday, I get a call from my building's management office. Someone guessed who had called to add Sarah and Tyler to my lease. When told that only I could do that, they asked about the building's family transfer policy. There is no such policy. Thursday, I'm working from home when I hear someone at my door. I check the camera. It's Sarah with a woman I don't recognize. They're trying different keys. I have it on video. They tried for 10 minutes before giving up. Thursday night family group chat explodes. Mom James refused to let the designer in. $200 consultation fee wasted. Sarah, some uncle you'll be. Hope you can live with yourself. Dad, your mother hasn't stopped crying. Happy now. Various relatives chiming in about how I'm tearing the family apart and being stubborn. Friday morning, I wake up to 14 missed calls. Apparently, Sarah had created a Facebook event called Help Sarah Move Into Her New Home Set for 3 weeks from now. At my address, 23 people have already RSVP. Yes, I commented on the event. This is my apartment. Sarah does not live here and will not be moving in. The event was deleted within an hour, but not before screenshots were taken and shared in the family group chat as evidence of my cruelty. The latest development. Tyler texted me yesterday, not to apologize or anything. He wanted to know if I'd be keeping my PS5 when I move out, or if that would be staying for the baby to use when they're older. I'm beyond done. I've started looking into security cameras and have documented everything. I'm also considering a cease and desist letter, which I never thought I'd need against my own family. The pregnancy hormones excuse crap. This is calculated. They've moved from asking to assuming to actively planning my eviction from my own home. I'll update again if anything else happens, but honestly, I'm hoping they'll realize I'm serious and back off somehow. I doubt it. Edit. Yes, I have a lawyer now. Yes, I've changed the locks. No, I haven't blocked them yet because I need to document the crazy in case this escalates legally. And to those asking, the designer was real. Sarah had actually paid a $200 deposit. The woman confirmed this when I called her company to explain the situation. She was mortified and refunded Sarah. Update 2 posted 6 weeks after the previous update. I knew I'd be back with another update, but I didn't think it would escalate to this level. Grab a drink, because this is absolutely insane. After my last post, things were quiet for about 2 weeks. Too quiet. I should have known they were planning something. During this time, I took everyone's advice. I installed security cameras. Best $400 I ever spent. I got a cease and desist letter sent to my parents and Sarah. I documented everything. I started therapy because this whole situation was affecting my work and sleep. My therapist actually helped me understand something important. This wasn't really about the apartment. It was about years of my family taking my stability and success for granted while enabling Sarah's poor choices. The apartment was just the breaking point. Week 3 of radio silence. I get a text from my cousin Emma asking if I'm excited about the move. Confused, I ask what she means. She sends me a screenshot from Sarah's Instagram story. Can't wait to set up baby's room. So grateful for family support. 2 hearts, the attached photo, my apartment building, not just the building. My unit's balcony with my potted plants visible. I text Sarah immediately. No response. Call my parents. Straight to voicemail. Something's up. That Thursday, I'm at my office. The actual company office, not my home office. When my neighbor Kevin texts me, "Hey man, there's a moving truck outside. You moving, my blood goes cold." I check my security camera app. Sure enough, there's a U-Haul parked outside. My parents' car is in the visitor spot. Sarah and Tyler's beat-up Honda is there too. I immediately leave work telling my boss I have a family emergency. The 20-minute drive felt like hours. I pull up to find the trucks back open. Inside a crib, a changing table box is labeled baby's room. They're not trying to move me out, they're moving Sarah in. I sprint to my apartment. The door is intact. Thank God for good locks, but I can hear voices inside the hallway. I quietly approach and hear my mom on the phone with someone. Yes, the locksmith should be here any minute. My son gave us permission but forgot to leave the key. I immediately called 911 explaining that people were trying to break into my apartment. While on the phone, I start recording video. The locksmith arrives before the police. I watch him approach my door where my parents, Sarah, Tyler, and 2 guys I don't recognize are waiting. My dad hands him cash. That's when I step out. Don't touch that lock. I'm the owner and these people do not have permission to enter. The locksmith looks confused. My mom immediately starts. James, perfect timing. We were just dash. No, I cut her off. I've called the police. You're trespassing. Sarah starts crying. How can you do this to your pregnant sister? Tyler, helpful as always, chimes in. Dude, the truck's only rented until 400. The locksmith, bless him, immediately steps back and says he's not getting involved in a family dispute. He leaves just as the police arrive. I explain the situation to the officers, showing them my lease, the cease and desist letter, and the security footage of them trying to get in. My family tries to spin it as a misunderstanding, but the officers aren't buying it. Here's where it gets really good. One of the unknown guys with them, he starts getting nervous when the cops are checking IDs. Turns out, he has an outstanding warrant for unpaid child support. He gets arrested on the spot. The other guy, he's a professional tenant relocator, aka someone they hired to physically move my stuff out if needed. When the cops explain that what he was hired to do would be illegal eviction, he quickly leaves. The officers make it clear to my family, they need to leave immediately, and any further attempts to enter will result in arrest. They're officially trespassed from the property. My dad, red-faced and angry, starts yelling about how I'm destroying the family and choosing property over blood. My mom wails that I'm killing her grandchild by causing stress to Sarah. Sarah, still playing victim, sobs about how she already told everyone the new address and how embarrassed she'll be. Tyler. He asks if we can at least unload the truck since it's all already packed. The officers escort them out. I follow to make sure they actually leave. That's when I see inside the truck not just baby furniture but Sarah's entire apartment. They'd packed everything. They were literally moving her in today. But wait, it gets better. I get back to my apartment and check my mail. There's an envelope from my parents. Inside, a rental agreement between me and Sarah dated 3 weeks from now where I would be renting my apartment to her for $500 per month. Remember, my mortgage is $400. It's already signed by her and my parents as witnesses. There's also a note, James, we thought this would be fair. You can stay with us for a few months until you find something suitable. Mom and Dad, they were going to forge my signature. I spend the rest of the day dealing with the fallout. A building management has to formally trespass them. I file for a restraining order. I change my emergency contact info at work. It was my mom. I remove them from my bank accounts. They were listed as beneficiaries. The family group chat explodes. Aunt Patricia calling the police on your pregnant sister. Cousin Mark. Wow. Just wow. Money really changes people. Uncle Christopher, your grandparents would be ashamed. Mom, you've broken my heart. I don't have a son anymore. Dad, all this for an apartment. I hope you're happy, living alone forever. Sarah, I'll remember this when you need help someday. The only support came from my cousin Emma, who privately messaged, just saw the security footage you posted. They're all insane. Stand your ground. Yeah, I posted the footage on my Facebook before blocking them all. Let everyone see what actually happened. The next few days were harassment central, a food delivery orders. I didn't make a Craigslist ads with my phone number for free PS5, as someone signed me up for literally hundreds of newsletters. 3 different locksmith calls saying I was locked out. Then radio silence for a week until yesterday. I get a certified letter from a lawyer. My family is suing me for 1, emotional distress. 2, breach of verbal contract. 3, unlawful eviction. I can't evict someone who never lived there. 4, damages related to the moving truck rental and storage fees. They're seeking $15,000 plus my apartment. My lawyer laughed. Actually laughed. He says it's the most ridiculous case he's seen in years. We're countersuing for harassment, attempted breaking and entering, attempted fraud, and defamation. But here's the real kicker. Remember how Sarah and Tyler packed up their entire apartment? Well, they gave notice to their landlord. They're now technically homeless because they were so sure this plan would work. They're staying with my parents, who are now dealing with Tyler's band practicing in their garage at all hours and Sarah's morning sickness. Last I heard through the grapevine, Emma's still my inside source. My parents are already stressed about the living situation. My mom complained to her book club that Tyler leaves dishes everywhere, and Sarah's taken over their entire bathroom with pregnancy products. Comma's a thing. As for me, I'm doing great. My apartment is extra secure. I'm in therapy dealing with years of family crap, and I've never been more certain about a decision in my life. To everyone who said they'd cave and I'd be posting about losing my apartment, you were wrong. To those who said, stand my ground, you gave me the strength to do it. I'll update after the court case, but my lawyer says it'll likely be thrown out. He's more interested in the countersuit, especially the attempted fraud with the fake lease. For now, I'm enjoying my 2-bedroom apartment in peace. I'm thinking of redecorating my office. Maybe I'll send Sarah the Pinterest board. Edit. Since everyone's asking, yes, this is real. I have all the documentation, security footage, and legal papers to prove it. Yes, I'm in therapy to deal with this. No, I don't regret standing my ground. And to those saying I should have just given them the apartment to keep the peace, you're part of the problem. Enabling this behavior is why it escalated to this point. Edit 2. The locksmith they called. He actually reached out to me afterward. He's seen this situation before and wanted to make sure I was okay. He said in 20 years he's been called to maybe a dozen similar family takeover situations. It's more common than you'd think. He gave me his card and said he'd testify if needed about what he witnessed. Final update posted 3 months after the previous update. It's been 3 months since the attempted break-in, and I finally have closure on this insane saga. This will be my last update because, thankfully, this chapter of my life is officially closed. First, the legal stuff. My family's lawsuit was dismissed within 3 weeks. The judge called it frivolous and a waste of the court's time. Their lawyer actually apologized to my lawyer afterward, saying he advised against filing, but they insisted. Our countersuit, however, moved forward. Here's what happened. Harassment proven through documentation of the calls, texts, false deliveries, and Craigslist posts. My parents and Sarah were ordered to pay $3,000 in damages. Attempted breaking and entering. This was dropped to trespassing as they didn't technically break in. They received formal warnings. Attempted fraud. This was the big one. The fake lease with the intent to forge my signature. That's serious. Sarah received 18 months probation and 100 hours of community service. My parents got 12 months probation each as conspirators. Defamation dismissed as it's hard to prove damages from family drama on Facebook. Total awarded $7 on $500 in damages and all my legal fees. They have 6 months to pay. But the legal victory isn't even the best part. Here's where it gets interesting. During discovery for the lawsuit, my lawyer found something incredible. Remember how my parents said they'd help with a difference sometimes if I rented a studio? Well, Sarah had been telling people a different story. We subpoenaed her text messages relevant to the fraud case and found conversations with Tyler's mom where she admitted the plan was to 1, move into my apartment. 2, have me pay the mortgage while living with my parents. 3, slowly stop the $500 payments once the baby arrived because he won't evict family with a baby. 4, eventually force me to sign over the apartment because maintaining it would be too stressful for me. She literally texted, once we're in for a year, squatters' rights kick in. We looked it up. Fun fact, they looked it up wrong. That's not how it works in our state. Tyler's mom's response. Brilliant. He seems like a pushover when it comes to family. These texts were presented in court. The judge was not amused. The family fallout. The restraining orders were granted. They can't contact me for 2 years, except through lawyers, for the payment plan. Extended family initially stayed on their side until the court documents became public record. Suddenly, everyone went quiet. Aunt Patricia deleted her Facebook posts about me. Uncle Christopher pretended he never said anything. Emma, my insider cousin, told me the family reunions have been awkward without me there. Apparently, there's a split between those who still think I should have helped family and those who can't believe what Sarah and my parents did. The baby. Sarah had the baby 2 months ago. A girl. I found out through Emma. I haven't met her and don't plan to. Maybe that makes me cold, but I can't risk opening that door again. Here's the karma part. Remember how they gave notice on their apartment? Well, finding a new place with an eviction for non-payment after they couldn't move back in a criminal record. Sarah's fraud charge and terrible credit has been difficult. They're still living with my parents, 5 adults and a baby in a 3-bedroom house. Tyler's band still practices in the garage. The baby has colic. My mom retired early because she needed to help with the baby. Translation: Sarah expected free childcare. My dad's been working overtime to cover their bills. The plot twist. A month ago, I get a call from an unknown number. It's Tyler's mom. She's apologizing profusely and wants to meet against my better judgment. I agree. She tells me Tyler and Sarah have been fighting constantly. The stress of living with my parents, the baby, and no space is destroying their relationship. But here's the real kicker. She's been investigating Tyler's finances because something didn't add up. Turns out Tyler has been lying about his income. He's not working part-time at a vape shop. He's been working full-time at his uncle's construction company for 2 years, making decent money. He's been hiding it in a separate account, telling Sarah he's broke while saving to move to Los Angeles to make it big with his band. He has $23,000 saved up. $23,000. While my parents are going into debt supporting them while they tried to steal my apartment claiming poverty while Sarah's been posting GoFundMe for baby supplies. Tyler's mom showed me bank statements. She's furious and disgusted. She's been supporting them too, thinking they were struggling. I sat on this information for a week, then sent it all to my lawyer. He forwarded it to Sarah's lawyer with a note about financial fraud in the context of our settlement. Last I heard, Sarah found out about the money. There was a massive fight. Tyler moved out and my parents are now supporting Sarah and the baby alone while she files for child support where I am now. I still live in my apartment. I've redecorated the office. It's now a proper gaming and work setup. I got a promotion at work. Turns out not having daily family drama improves job performance. I'm in a relationship with someone I met at therapy. We were in the same waiting room, started chatting, and hit it off. She's heard this whole saga and jokes that she's grateful my family showed their true colors before we met. Imagine meeting them at a wedding. I've built a chosen family of friends who actually respect boundaries. We have game nights in my apartment, the same apartment my family tried to steal. The security cameras are still up, the locks are still changed, but I don't check them obsessively anymore. The letter. Last week I received a letter forwarded through my lawyer. It's from my mom. 3 pages of how she misses me, how the family isn't the same, how she wishes we could move past this. No apology, no acknowledgement of what they did, just how hard this has been for her. I threw it away. Sometimes family isn't who you're born to. Sometimes it's who you choose. And sometimes the best thing you can do is choose yourself. To everyone who followed this saga, thank you. Your support, advice, and validation kept me sane. You helped me realize I wasn't crazy, I wasn't selfish, and I wasn't wrong to protect what I'd worked for. My apartment is still mine, my life is mine, and for the first time in 29 years, I'm free from the guilt, manipulation, and expectation that family helps family. Even when that help is really just enabling, I'm done updating because there's nothing left to say. They're out of my life, I'm thriving. And that's the best ending I could ask for. Final edit to address the most common question. Yes, I feel bad for the baby. She's innocent in all this. I've set up a small education fund in her name that Sarah won't know about until the child turns 18. It's my way of helping without getting pulled back into the dysfunction. The fund is managed by a trust and Sarah can't touch it. Maybe one day my niece will understand why her uncle had to step away. Or maybe she won't. Either way, she'll have something for me that her parents can't take away.